Bangladesh is like this mysterious dark horse on the world map that, unfortunately, many people just overlook. It's located in South Asia, nestled between India and Myanmar, and despite having over 160 million residents, very few know much about the country. Why is that? Maybe it's because, at first glance, Bangladesh seems to be a collection of contrasts. For instance, in the capital Dhaka, you can find barbers and dentists working right on the sidewalks at every corner. Yes, right on the street, amidst all the noise and hustle, as if it's completely normal. And the Brahmaputra River, which everyone has heard of, sometimes just disappears, as if it's taking a vacation, only to reappear later, leaving locals scratching their heads. Not to mention that entire villages in Bangladesh are submerged daily, and people just accept it as part of life while staying optimistic. This poor country, by the way, has become a global leader in clothing production. What an irony. And of course, we can't forget the unique boats made from bamboo and empty plastic bottles. What wonders are happening in this country? Let's dive in and find out. Fact number 1. Bangladesh, a land of contrasts and rivers, where every day is a struggle for survival. How is it even possible that a country the size of Belarus manages to be the 8th most populous nation in the world? Over 170 million people call Bangladesh home, and honestly, it feels like every square meter is not just filled with people, but with their stories, traditions, and, let's be honest, their poverty. Here, rivers don't just flow, they are the lifeblood, shaping entire communities where people live on the water. Yes, you heard that right. Locals build their homes on platforms, and when the water level rises, they simply move up higher. It's not perfect, but in Bangladesh, that's just the way of life. And picture this. Amidst these vivid contrasts, there are whole communities making a living by fishing, scavenging, or working in textile factories to feed their families. Every day is like a marathon, where survival hinges not only on what you know, but also on how quickly you can adapt to changing conditions. Against this backdrop of challenges, the culture of Bangladesh bursts with vibrant colors, from folk music to lively festivals where everyone finds a place to showcase their talent. The people here don't give up, even when life gets tough, creating a striking contrast to how we often envision a normal life. So, let's continue our journey through this country, where each day is not just about survival, but a true drama filled with intense emotions and unexpected twists. Fact number 2. Dhaka, the capital of sidewalk talents, where street barbers and dentists are not exotic, but everyday. In Dhaka, where life flows like a river during the rainy season, street entrepreneurs have simply adapted to the circumstances. Just imagine, you're walking down the street, and someone's cutting your hair, pulling out your teeth, or even giving you a shot, all right on the sidewalk, sandwiched between the road and the market. Yes, in a country where the standard of living sometimes raises eyebrows, street barbers and dentists have become real lifesavers for many. What do you think about that? There's no room for bias here about street work being shameful. People are just doing their jobs, making money, and supporting their families. And that's not all. Local doctors, who you'd expect to be sitting in clinics wearing white coats, also display their services for everyone to see. Who needs a license when there's a line of people around the corner waiting for help? In Dhaka, where every square meter is a business opportunity, survival has turned into an art. Ironically, in a place where many lack basic amenities, people find creative ways to earn and cope with hardships. So, if you ever feel like your problems are insurmountable, just think of Dhaka, where street barbers and dentists can teach us how to be flexible no matter the circumstances. Fact 3. The Padma River, where water isn't just an element but an unpredictable whim of nature. In Bangladesh, the Padma River plays with the fates of local people like an old magician, disappearing and reappearing out of nowhere. Yes, you heard that right. Entire sections of this river can dry up, forcing people to reassess their chances of survival. The reasons lie not only in seasonal rains but also in climate change, which messes with the ecosystem in ways that leave you unsure whether to laugh or cry. The locals have learned to dance to this tune. When the river retreats, they move to dry land, adapting to a new reality. Watching them, you realize that life here feels like a game of Russian roulette with nature. Some find an opportunity to fish in the shallow waters, while others switch careers from farming to fruit selling. And when the river returns, it's like a celebration, with the whole community gathering on the banks as life starts flowing back into its usual rhythm. So, if you think your life is tough, remember the Padma and the people who face the unpredictability of water every day, living as if it's just part of normal life. It's hard to imagine, but in such an unstable ecosystem, they find ways not just to survive, but to enjoy every twist of fate, because for them, the river is more than just a source of water. It's a whole theater of life. Fact 4. Submerged villages. How water becomes a familiar neighbor in Bangladesh. Here's a riddle for you. How is it that entire villages in Bangladesh go underwater every year, and the locals treat it like just another Tuesday? That's right, floods here aren't some natural disaster. They're part of life, like morning tea or the evening heat. Each year, when the monsoons hit, the Padma River and its sisters start their survival game, and the whole area goes under. It's normal for houses to be built on rafts, as if it's a scene from a thriller where the main characters are people who aren't afraid of water. Instead, they make it a part of their lives. Kids here learn in floating schools. Yep, not in classrooms with desks, but on barges gliding through the floodwaters. Just think about it. Imagine your school is on water, and you're learning to read and write while rocking on the waves. And surprisingly, for the locals, this isn't exotic, it's reality. They don't just adapt, they build an entire culture around this madness. Watch how they catch fish when their homes become islands, and how girls jump rope on rooftops that now resemble rafts. This isn't a fairy tale. It's life, where everyone finds their way to survive and thrive. The riddle of Bangladesh is that water isn't an enemy here. It's a familiar ally. Maybe there's something we can learn from them about staying grounded when the world around us is sinking. Fact number 5. Plastic boats. How trash became a lifeline for Bangladesh. Do you know what bamboo and plastic bottles have in common in Bangladesh? They're not just garbage. They're true lifesavers when the rivers decide to play a game of flood everything. Here, when the water level rises so high that even the crocodiles start complaining about space, locals turn to plastic bottles to make boats. Yes, you heard that right. These plastic wonders become not just a means of transport, but genuine life rafts. Bottle boats are like the all-in-one solution: transportation and a life buoy rolled into one. Funny, maybe, but for the people of Bangladesh, it's a real lifesaver that helps them not only get to work, but also save their lives. And as for bamboo, it's like a Swiss Army knife among trees here. It's used for building houses, making boats, and even crafting temporary bridges. As the water rises, craftsmen immediately start whipping up new vessels as if it's a celebration. And let's not forget, in this country where water is not an enemy but a friend, everyone finds their own way to navigate the challenges using whatever they have on hand. This isn't just survival, it's an art of adaptation, and damn, they do it with such style that even the most hardened pessimists would be envious. Fact 6. Bangladesh, a sewing empire around the corner. You know what's surprising? This country, often associated with poverty and disasters, is actually the second largest clothing exporter in the world, right after China. How is that possible? Let's break it down. Picture this: minimal infrastructure, constant power outages, and yet thousands of garment factories popping up in this so-called sewing paradise. Millions of people work here, willing to toil for next to nothing, and it's these individuals who create the stylish textiles you wear every day. Bangladesh has become a true sewing capital of Asia, where they stitch not only clothes, but also hopes for a better future. These factories buzz like beehives, producing goods that end up on store shelves all around the globe. Of course, working conditions are far from ideal, and we can't forget the tragedies. like the Rana Plaza collapse, which reminded the world that behind this fashion lies human lives. But let's be honest, in a time when many countries are just trying to get back on their feet, Bangladesh has already carved out its path in the textile industry. This isn't just success. It's a shocking reality where poverty and wealth intertwine so tightly that locals sometimes don't even understand how they manage to survive in this chaos. Fact number 7. Train rooftops, how to reach happiness in Bangladesh. Have you ever wondered how to get to your destination when all the buses are packed and taxis are just a dream for the less fortunate? In Bangladesh, the railway comes to the rescue, but not in the way you might think. Here, people don't just board trains, they literally take over the rooftops. Yes, you heard that right. During holidays and mass migrations, this mode of travel becomes the norm. Just picture it. Dozens, sometimes even hundreds of people standing with their feet on the roof of a train as if it's the most ordinary commute. It's a sight, shall we say, not for the faint of heart. The trains here are so overcrowded that riding in a carriage feels like a survival challenge among wild animals. People cram inside like sardines, and those who can't squeeze in boldly make their way to the roof, where they seem to risk their lives. But for them, it's just a way home to reunite with loved ones. Why can't the authorities do anything about it? Because in a country where millions are trying to get back to their families and the infrastructure can barely hold up, addressing this issue would mean putting themselves in the firing line. Offering an alternative in the form of proper public transport? That's like trying to catch the wind in a net. Bangladesh is a country where people's ingenuity is truly remarkable, and when you see how they tackle their problems, it becomes clear. For them, the rooftop of a train isn't just an extreme choice, it's a chance to grab a piece of happiness. Fact 8. Where every inch is worth its weight in gold. In Bangladesh, especially in Dhaka, the population density breaks all records. Over 20 million people crammed into a tiny area. It's like trying to fit all of Moscow into just one district, while forgetting about parking and parks. There's hardly any street space here, and every little bit of land is used to the fullest. Want to put down a bench? First, figure out how many people can actually sit on it, because it's not just a bench, it's also a place for trading, resting, and maybe even sleeping. People in Bangladesh don't just live on their small plots, they fill them up to the last inch. Residential buildings, shops, street cafes, and even workshops are literally glued together, creating a wild mix of sounds, smells, and vibrant colors. Strolling through the narrow streets, where beams of light struggle to break through the high-rise structures, feels like wandering through a real maze where every turn could lead to an unexpected discovery. But watch out, there might be a rickshaw zooming by at full speed. It's truly an art to exist in a place where space is a luxury and every square meter is precious. Paradoxically, in this chaotic crowd, there's a strong sense of community. Neighbors know everything about each other, and even if you don't have a spot for your business, there's always a corner where you can lay out your goods and start making money. This is Bangladesh, a country where improvisation and creativity are not just traits, but essential skills for survival. Fact number 9. Sunderbands, where nature paints its masterpieces and hides tigers. Let's talk about the Sunderbands mangrove forest, the largest in the world. This isn't just a forest, it's a real-life, eerie fairy tale, where the tree branches stretch out like hands reaching for the sky, and the whispers of the water fill the air with mysteries. Here, in this impenetrable swamp, live the Bengal tigers, who look like true kings of the jungle. If only they could talk, they'd surely have tales of adventure to share. But here's the paradox. This ecosystem is at risk of disappearing. Due to climate change, deforestation, and rising sea levels, the Sunderbands is suffering like an old actor on stage who can't remember his lines. This is a place where nature shows its true strength. The roots of the trees don't just grow, they literally fight for their lives, as if trying to hold the land on their shoulders. The local people living here understand that their future is intertwined with this ecosystem. Their lives are a constant dance with nature, where every day is a struggle to maintain a balance between survival and the preservation of wildlife. Imagine waking up every morning surrounded by such wonders, yet knowing that tomorrow could be the last for many species. So, if you have the chance, don't just sit on the couch. Head out to the Sunderbands. You'll witness the beauty and tragedy of this place with your own eyes. Fact number 10. Shipbreakers, how old vessels are turned into scrap in Bangladesh. Yes, you heard that right. In Bangladesh, there's a profession known as shipbreaking. I'm not quite sure what to call it, breaker or simply scrap dismantler. Here, on the banks of the Buriganga River, lies the largest ship graveyard in the world, where old steamers and container ships literally decay before your eyes. Thousands of workers, moving like ants, scurry around these giants, taking them apart just like kids dismantle their toys. Just imagine, massive ships that once sailed the seas now sit idle, like worn-out sneakers, waiting for their fate. These hard workers use only hand tools, no cranes or heavy machinery. Everything is done manually, and you don't need any special skills, just a willingness to work and strong hands. The pay isn't great, but for many, it's the only way to make a living. Working in this graveyard, they face dangerous conditions, but that doesn't stop them. Some even find inspiration in it, transforming wreckage into unique sculptures or pieces of furniture. Life in Bangladesh isn't easy, but there's something captivating about how people manage to find beauty in the ruins. So, if you ever find yourself in this part of the world, take a moment to visit this ship graveyard. It's not just a place where old ships gather, it's a true theater of human survival, where every day is a new performance of life and despair. Fact 11. Helmets banned. How Bangladesh handles safety in its own way. In Bangladesh, there's this astonishing law. In certain areas, motorcycle helmets are outright banned. Yes, you heard that right. The government believes that helmets can hide riders' faces, making it harder to identify criminals. So, if you decide to take a ride on a bike without a helmet, you're not just risking your head. You're also helping the state fight crime. Funny, isn't it? In reality, it looks like this. Motorcyclists zip around without protection, as if they bear no responsibility, and if an accident happens, good luck to you, because your head, just like in that old joke, is unprotected. While in other countries helmets are a given, here it's a kind of political maneuver. This whole situation makes you wonder where safety ends and absurdity begins. As an alternative, the authorities suggest wearing regular hats or caps to cover your head somewhat, although honestly that's just ridiculous. It seems like a concern for safety, but in practice, it's something entirely different. So, if you ever plan to visit Bangladesh and decide to rent a motorcycle, don't forget about this strange law. Maybe you'll get lucky and won't run into police who think you don't need a helmet, and that life itself is a risk. Fact 12. Who said religion is always about war? In Bangladesh, where Muslims make up the overwhelming majority, there's one surprising feature. They celebrate the Buddhist New Year. Yes, you heard that right. In a country where Islam traditionally dominates, Buddhists, although a minority, manage to celebrate their festival in grand style. It's like finding not only your favorite dishes at your favorite diner, but also stumbling upon a menu featuring a completely different cuisine. On Pohela Boishak, Buddhists gather in temples, dress in bright clothes, and set off fireworks as if all their worries are left behind. This isn't just about honoring tradition, it's a true demonstration of peaceful coexistence. People from different religions come together for celebrations, exchanging smiles and treats, as if to say, "Hey, we're all on this planet together, let's just live." While in other parts of the world, religious conflicts rage fiercely. In Bangladesh, you can see how different beliefs coexist side by side, like neighbors who not only don't fight, but sometimes come together for a shared meal. It's certainly not a perfect picture, but it's definitely worth noticing. I hope examples like this of peaceful coexistence can inspire other countries where religious tension still thrives. Fact 13. Wedding Marathon, when the celebration never ends. In Bangladesh, weddings are not just about exchanging rings and saying, "I do." They are full-on marathons that can stretch over several days, and even with limited resources they manage to feed hundreds of guests. Imagine heading to a friend's wedding only to find yourself at a celebration with more people at the table than at a football match. These long festivities feature the bride in various outfits, as if each day is a new fashion show, and despite financial struggles, guests happily bring their own dishes. In such situations, it seems that even poverty can't put a damper on the fun. Guests may not bring gifts, but their presence is a treasure in itself. And at that moment, it becomes clear that an ancient tradition still thrives in Bangladesh. The more guests you have, the wealthier you appear. This is not just a wedding, it's a full-blown festival where everyone wants to be part of something bigger. And if you think about it, there's an element of competition involved. Who can make their wedding more memorable despite the financial constraints? In short, weddings in Bangladesh are not just significant events. They are a true social spectacle where everyone plays their part, and despite all the challenges, the celebration goes on as if tomorrow doesn't exist. Fact 14. Rickshaws, art on wheels, or where else can you see masterpieces on the turns? In Dhaka, rickshaws aren't just a mode of transport. They're a true cultural phenomenon that will captivate your inner aesthete. With over 500,000 of these three-wheeled vehicles, each one hand-painted as if preparing for an exhibition at the Louvre, it's no exaggeration to say that you can find everything on them, from vibrant floral patterns to whimsical scenes from local mythology. Imagine zooming through the bustling streets of this metropolis, surrounded not by the dull grind of everyday life, but by a genuine open-air gallery. Rickshaw drivers are more than just taxi drivers. They're true artists, each day crafting their little masterpieces by attaching bright images and inscriptions to their rickshaws, which can convey more than an entire travel guide to Bangladesh. Sure, it's not the fastest or most comfortable way to get around, but who said speed is everything? What truly matters is the experience. As you weave through traffic, you can enjoy not only the sights but also interactions with locals who are eager to share stories about their rickshaws, as if they were their own children. Keep in mind that a rickshaw is not just a means of transport. It's a whole social institution where each driver knows more about their passengers than some friends do, and every ride is a little story filled with laughter and unexpected turns. So, if you ever find yourself in Dhaka, forget about standard taxis and typical routes. Hop on a rickshaw and dive into this colorful world, where every corner is a piece of Bangladesh's soul, and every driver is your personal tour guide through life. Fact number 15. Bengali. How words can kill. Did you know that Bengali is one of the top 10 most spoken languages in the world? Yep, that's right. Over 200 million people speak it, and learning it outside of Bangladesh can feel like searching for a needle in a haystack. Sounds paradoxical, doesn't it? While everyone is shouting about the importance of learning languages, Bengali seems to get left behind. But people have literally fought and died for it. No exaggeration. The history of the Bengali language is full of drama and struggle. Back in the 1960s, when the eastern and western regions of Pakistan were fighting for their rights, Bengalis took to the streets to defend their mother tongue. This wasn't just a protest, it was a real war of words. People lost their lives, and this moment became a turning point in the history of Bangladesh, which later gained independence. So, if you think of language as just a means of communication, think again. It's not just a collection of letters and sounds, it's a powerful tool that can ignite passions and change destinies. And here's another irony. Despite its popularity, Bengali remains in the shadows on the world stage, like a star that shines brightly yet goes unnoticed. So, if you want to surprise your friends, try learning a few phrases in Bengali. It's not just cool, but you might end up with a unique skill that makes people wonder what they've been missing. Bangladesh is a land of contrasts, where skyscrapers stand next to huts and modern technology blends seamlessly into traditional ways of life. Here, people don't just live, they survive, showing incredible heroism in the face of the many challenges life throws at them. Yes, Bangladesh has its issues: poverty, floods, and political strife. But when you see how the locals find joy in each day, you realize it's not just a struggle. It's a true lesson in resilience. Though let's not get too dramatic about it. This is real life, full of challenges. So, what fact surprised you the most? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe to the channel, give a thumbs up if you liked it, and let us know which other country you'd be interested in learning about. Let's spark a discussion and explore the world together.